Happy Boxing Day, Darren.
Happy Boxing Day. Yes. How long do you think is the 12th one going to be? Boxing Day, but it's just too much to try and work out.
Okay, here's what's happening here. I've got this book, normally when I'm drawing. It's called, can you see that? Digital Retro.
Yeah.
Evolution and Design of the Personal Computer. It goes up to, 1985. And it starts at 1975.
Right.
And I wondered if you wanted to choose a fantasy Christmas present that you never got from this book. I could read them out, and you could choose a computer that you always wanted that you never got. And I'll draw it. Shall I start calling them out?
Yeah, go on.
MITS Altair 8800. The Commodore PET 2001.
Okay. No, not yet.
All right, I'm just having it. The Apple II.
Yes, do that one.
Really? Wow, that was easy. Right.
Well, I just thought I'd pick one. We could go on forever. No, I'll tell you what. There was one.
If you got one, if you remember one you always wanted.
There is one. Was it a Dragon 32?
Ah, okay. Yeah, let's do that. That's in here. Yeah. Yeah, found it.
I think it was a
very modest-looking computer, actually.
Is it?
Yeah. But I mean, I think.
Well, they were very beige and plain.
Yeah. Okay, I've got it set up here.
Yeah, there's a brilliant book called Hackers by Stephen Levy, and it's all about the evolution of home computing, really, and it's all mostly centered on the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and it kind of evolved from the college's model railway club.
Right.
And a lot of these people who were studying computing also built model railways, and they used their computers to operate the switching gears on the tracks and stuff.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And everything kind of evolved from there, and it's fascinating about all these kind of mavericks who were inventing computers. And there was a guy who was almost totally separate from it, and he did one called the Altair. It was a blue one. It was basically just a collection of LEDs and switches, and that's it.
That's in here.
I think it might. Yeah.
That's the one I said. Here you go. I'll show you a picture of it.
You got it. Shows. There it is. And you could build it yourself.
Yeah.
Get it in kit form.
Well, have you seen the first? Have you seen pictures of the first Apple? So
it's wood, Apple, isn't it?
Yeah, the first Apple.
Yeah.
You sort of made your own housing for it.
There you go.
You made your own outside for it, and that's it. Look at that.
Yeah, it's like made in Steve Jobs or Steve Wozniak's garage.
Yeah. And it had and even that had a charging lead that was too short. Boom, boom.
Well, it's a great book, Hackers, Stephen Levy. It's really fascinating. It doesn't surprisingly exciting.
It sort of sounds like it might be a less coffee table version of what I've got in front of me, to be honest.
Yeah.
I haven't read the text in this one. I've just looked at the pictures as usual.
He manages to make a fairly potentially dull subject really exciting. Well, I'm drawing here. I'm possibly running out of space in what I've done. But this ties into the first video about Scramble and this thing of having a fairly basic computer game, but finding it really cinematic. And this is the Lord of the Rings adventure game, text adventure game on Spectrum. And I think what's important about this one, to me, is less the game, but what came with it. Came in a really hefty plastic box. It was 2 cassettes and the manual, but more importantly, it had a Fellowship of the Ring book, first volume in Lord of the Rings. And I devoured that book.
Sorry, is Fellowship of the Ring? I know you probably just said. Is that the first one or the second one?
That's the first one. First one. Yeah.
I'm pretty ignorant of Lord of the Rings stuff.
No, well, I didn't. I've not read it since. I read it when I was probably 13, 14, and it was great. Never read it since. Seen the films, not that bothered. Not really into the lore or anything, but the book itself I loved, and I think it's great that you kids would buy this computer game
and got a free book. Yeah, that is
get
sweet.
A free book. Yeah, I have really planned this drawing badly.
Well, I really thought I planned the Lotus Esprit badly on Christmas Day and somehow got away with it. Sometimes if you just lean into the mistake.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. The game itself, Lord of the Rings, I didn't get very far at all. There was a point where you go and meet Tom Bombadil, who's an idiot in the books and he's an idiot in the game. And I got lost in this forest or this maze and never played it again. Just couldn't be bothered. Like drawing maps or anything.
Yeah, I didn't do many text-based computer games. There was one for this. Oh dear, very close to making an error here. There was one for the ZX81 called Espionage Island.
Right.
And I couldn't really get beyond about sort of 6 or 7 screens in. And I remember sort of finding out, like you had, I don't know, there was this rock and you had to lift it up to get to the key to the next bit or something. I was stuck on it for ages. And I remember finding out in a magazine how you did it. And it was just the phrasing, you know, get enough purchase on the rock to move it or something ridiculous. But I'm not playing this game. If it can't understand, pick up the rock, I'm not playing it.
Yeah,
but the other thing about Espionage, the other thing about Espionage Island that became school playground legend was this. Well, what I can only describe, Darren, as a pleasure bot turns.
Okay.
Some sort of pleasure bot turns up and says, you know, I'll do whatever you want. Or something, I'm here to help you, or something like that. And then the playground, you know, they said, right, go on, type, fuck robot, type fuck robot into the computer. I was like, wow, really? And I went home, and you could type fuck robot into Espionage Island, and it would happen. And it would say her arm falls off in excitement or something like that. Like you do it and the robot breaks and you can't use the robot again.
They usually in those they program so that you put any sort of swear word in and it tells you off.
Not Espionage Island.
Well, I like that it actually let you do that. There's a whole chapter in the Hacker's book about text adventures. And the one of the leading sort of companies who made them, which again is fascinating and really entertaining. Sitting having meetings into the early hours about whether the dwarf can, fight the wizard and things like that. We've got to, but having really big business meetings about stuff like that. Ridiculous. There was one called Board of the Rings.
Oh, that sort of rings a bell.
Yeah, well, I think it was also a book, and someone made the text adventure of the book. And you had a character called Dildo Baggins and stuff like that. It was all very puerile, but funny to teenagers. But the best bit about Board of the Rings was on the other side of the cassette was a spoof version of CFAX, which was really, I remember it being really funny. I'm going to have to find that and see if it's still available online on an emulator.
It was such a short-lived period, this whole period of these computers. Well, I mean, this book tells us, doesn't it? This book tells us that it was less than 10 years, really.
Yeah,
started to become actually just computers.
Yeah.
These sort of home computers that would... Because that was the thing, wasn't it, as well, that your case to your Spectrum or Commodore 64 would be full of shit to try and make your parents buy it. Educational.
Yes, I was thinking about that the other day.
All these claims that it could be, and there were like you'd go into Martin's and Newsagent, and there'd be a computer. There would be a computer game section, wouldn't there? There'd be a computer game section with loads of cassettes, and there would be teach yourself maths, dictionary, and then you'd go, don't want them.
Well, I'm gonna speak about it later, but when you got the Spectrum, it came in a bundle with a few games, and one of them was like a nature game, and it was learn about the life cycle of animals by being one yourself. You could be a tiger, you could be an owl hunting. You could be a rabbit who reproduces quite quickly, or you could be a mosquito. And it's saying, that sounds interesting. Let's have a look at this. And you were basically just moving around a grid. And then either you couldn't find food and die, or a predator would come along and eat you. And that was basically the whole game. This is rubbish. But I'm convinced it was put in there just to make it look like parents were buying an educational package.
Yeah. I remember my dad, bless him, having a bit of that. He was just starting to have computers at work, and he bought this. He would buy this part work called iTech. Around the time there was ITEC, stood for something, and you collected it over 2 years. And it was absolutely marketed at people like my dad. It was basically, don't let your children know this stuff, and you don't. Catch up with the information age. My dad bought every single issue. They're probably still in my mum's loft. Never read them. Must have spent hundreds on it. I want to find them. I reckon they'd be a really good resource of funny images and I mean, they were probably out of date as they were being printed, right? If they planned 2 years of this part work to make you understand computers or the information age, it was probably being invented whilst the magazines came out.
Yeah. Ooh, Sauron. How do you pronounce that bad guy? Lord of the Rings. Sauron.
I thought he was called Smaug.
No, the wizard.
Why am I pretending to even know the slightest thing about Lord of the Rings?
That's the name of the dragon in the Hobbits that you think.
I just know that there's a film called The Desolation of Smaug, and it makes me laugh.
That's one of the Hobbit films with Martin Freeman.
Just makes me laugh that there's a film.
Britain's most famous mod.
Bradley Wiggins?
Not anymore. Martin Freeman's beating him to it. Bradley Wiggins isn't a mod anymore.
He isn't a mod anymore?
He's got a massive beard, or he did have. You can't have a beard if you're a mod. It's against the law. You don't get Bradley Wiggins popping up on a Talking Heads music documentaries, do you? As one of the Talking Heads talking about a band and stuff.
Nah.
It's always got to be Martin Freeman, because he's a musical expert.
Actually, I bet you did. I bet you just after he did that. I bet there's some Oasis. I bet there's some shoddy Oasis documentary.
Yeah.
In about. Yeah, I was mad for it.
Yeah. I bet there is.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't mind. I want to look. I want to look for the cover of Espionage Island. I'm enjoying these memories now. Here you go.
ZX Spectrum, was it published on?
Well, I had it on. I had it on the ZX81. So whether it was one,
right,
expanded it and did it again. I'm pretty sure.
Adventure D.
Yeah. unless in some way, that's the interesting thing when you compound memories. Unless I didn't have it and a friend had it, unless I've sort of, you know what I mean? Sometimes these memories aren't entirely what you think they are.
No.
Okay, there seems to be screen grabs from a ZXC. I don't know, actually. It's hard to tell.
Probably very basic graphics anyway.
No, it was completely text-based. It was...
Right,
it was just literally you typed things and waited for the computer to respond.
There were no because a lot of these text adventures would start having a little picture at the top just to set the scene.
You're right.
Lines.
Okay, I'm gonna actually look on the wiki now. I'm gonna solve this memory now and find it was on the Z81 because.
Well, I'm going to take this opportunity to invite the viewers to tell us about your favourite toys.
We would very much like to hear from you in the comment section below.
Yeah.
Please remember to like and subscribe.
Yes. Comments below. I'm there.
Espionage Island was only on the Spectrum. I never owned a Spectrum, yet I clearly have this memory of typing "fuck robot" into Espionage Island. So maybe I did that run around to my friend's house. Maybe I went round and said, "You got to type it in. Fuck the robot." Can you please put the title of this video, "Fuck the robot," with asterisks, obviously. I think I want the title of this video.
I'm not planning on doing that. Not going to do that. Well,
for you, the computer you always wanted and never got. Here is
it looks amazing.
A Dragon 32.
Wow. Well, I could have won. And Lord of the Rings.
Auf Wiedersehen, Darren.
Auf Wiedersehen, Darren.